Good day, folks. I am going to discuss my experience with Gendercare, a private gender clinic in the UK. So first off, I was referred to a gender identity clinic on the NHS, but the waiting list for me at the time was 2.5 years. I think it might be more now, depending on where you're referred to. In the meantime, I didn't know how to survive the wait, so I contacted Gendercare and I got testosterone privately through them. First things first, I spent £750 entirely throughout the entire procedure, and that included travel to London and the first 2 prescriptions, which I had to pay for privately because I was slow in working out shared care with my GP, which I will loosely elaborate on. So first I checked out their website, which I will link in the description of this video. I fully recommend going through all of the frequently asked questions in case there's something you're not expecting or something I don't cover. It's really important to be aware of all of the information. After doing this to a borderline obsessive degree, I decided who I wanted to see, and that was Dr. Lorimer, which did mean that I would have a slightly longer wait, but I was okay with that. I wasn't okay with that, but it was preferable. I contacted him through email on the 27th of September 2017. I received my first reply from Dr. Lorimer on the 2nd of October 2017. Until I change year is 2017, I'm not saying that every time. He informed me kindly that the waiting list was very long and that he would be out of the country for a little while, so there was going to be a little bit of a delay before he got back to me. He did tell me that I could see other clinicians and that might give me a shorter wait time, but I respectfully declined as I'd already decided that I wanted to see him and only him. On the 4th of November, I received an email offering me an appointment to see him on the 10th of March 2018. They're based in London, so as soon as I had the appointment, I booked myself a coach. Train fare is quite extortionate here, so coach is, if you're okay to travel by one, it can be a lot cheaper. Especially if you book it a little bit in advance and you check the times. So for me, it wasn't that bad. I think it was 15 quid for me and my mum to go and return from London for the day. Depending on which station you get into and where in London you need to get, it might be worth looking at day travel around London to see if you can get, I think there's a tube pass for 20 quid or something, depending on how far and how often you're going to need to use tubes. I worked out the route in advance, I printed a map and I worked out that we could walk it in about an hour and a half, so that's what we did. To my appointment, I was asked to bring blood tests taken within 6 months of the appointment. I'll leave a list of the bloods that need to be taken in the description of this video, or I'll link to an appropriate source that has them. Contact details for my GP, a list of any current medication I'm on, my name change document if applicable, proof of age, and they said if you're very youthful in appearance, which I found quite good. Obviously, trans people are just vampires, so most of us that probably applies to. I was informed that being late could seriously impact on their ability to provide a full assessment. I mean, fairly obviously you don't want to be late to something like that, but travel around and to London can be difficult, so if you're booking to get there, I would make sure that you have a lot of time. I had my appointment at 12 midday and I got there at 8 AM just to make sure that I had enough time for everything to go wrong and that I still wouldn't be late. I was told that payment could be made at the appointment, cash or cheque, or I could pay in advance through bank transfer or PayPal. I did see them coming up to 2 years ago now, so I would check with them if any of this is still current repayments and things like that. But this is just what happened for me. In the time before my appointment, I looked into arranging shared care with my GP because paying every month for a private prescription was not something that I'd be able to afford, so I really needed my GP to take over shared care. If you know that you're going to be going with Gendercare, I can't recommend doing this enough. It's really vital to make sure that your practice will be able to help you and will be able to agree to shared care, and your GP specifically. Some people have to change GPs, some people have to change practices and look for several in the area to find one that's okay to do this, but it's really worthwhile doing. Even if your practice tells you that no practice does it, sometimes they genuinely think that, and sometimes they're intentionally gatekeeping, so just go to every practice if you're struggling with yours and ask every GP as well. But for my GP, I printed off a lot of information that there is online. I might make a separate video about this because there's quite a lot to go into really, but basically I brought her resources and I helped explain because I was her first trans patient and neither of us knew what we were doing, but she's lovely, so we kind of modelled our way through together. And she wasn't at all resistant and was happy to learn, which really was what made this possible. So you really need a GP It doesn't really matter if they don't know, because I think a lot of people don't, but if they're willing to learn and willing to accept the resources you bring to them, then that really is all that matters. So the one thing that delayed me was I had printed off a document of shared care, which you can find online, but Gendercare had not signed it, and I didn't realise that this was important because a lot of practices don't require that, but mine did. So I would have a shared care document either from Gendercare or just printed out in advance, and when you go to Gendercare, get Dr. Lorimer or whoever you see to sign it. And then when you bring it back to your GP, that would save you the delay I had. It was only like a 1.5 month delay anyway while this was sent back, and he sent them another copy that was signed and all of that. But just to speed things along, you know. In the time between confirming my appointment and my appointment, I had my GP aware of what was going to happen and happy with the process, and we were all set up to go there. Then on the 5th of March, I received an email just asking me to confirm my attendance at the appointment, which I did. And then we got an insanely ungodly hour coach and travelled at, I think, starting 6 a.m. to get into London for 8 a.m. And we had a couple of cups of coffee, a sort of nice meander through London and a slow walk to get there. And then we had lunch just round the corner of the Gendercare clinic while I waited for my appointment time. I'm going to go ahead and cover the rest of this in the part 2 clip so that my laptop doesn't bug out and so that I don't bug out any viewers.